Hey, what's up? Welcome to Movie Dumpster Season 2, Episode 21. We're moving right along with our Blockbuster bombs, and next up we have Reign of Fire from 2002, directed by Rob Bowman. I'm Joe Lascola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor, the faceless chain guy, 1980 McGraw.
Welcome to the dumpster.
We figure they're like fish. The females spawn the eggs. One male passes over and fertilizes thousands.
See what she said, Gwen? One male. That's why we never see any others, because there's only one. Now, we tracked the epidemiology of these things and we found out where they're from, and that is why we're here. We kill the male. We kill the species. We're going to London. Good luck. It's that way.
You fucking got me on that one. Got me good there, Tex. Can we talk about that for 1 second?
We absolutely can, because it was on our Instagram page, so we totally can.
Man, I saw that artwork this morning, and I'm like, what in God's name?
I put it in the Phantom Zone chat, and Hunter goes, "Oh, I love Legally Distinct Chain Murderer."
It's the fucking stupidest shit I've ever seen. What are you talking about?
Why is that a thing? I don't understand.
No.
I love how a lawsuit just totally destroys everything about the franchise you were trying to save in said lawsuit.
You couldn't put a silhouette of a woman on the fucking cover of that. It had to be some weird misshapen dude.
The original poster is a silhouette.
The original poster is iconic.
I know, but what are you doing? It's like a fucking, it's like a faceless dude with a chain.
For those who don't know, just check our Instagram page or listen to this. There was a release of the first Friday the 13th movie. From who? Was it Warner Brothers, you say?
Yeah, that's what it says on the side of the fucking mock-up.
Yeah, it's a Steelbook Blu-ray, but it's just a fucking awful, misshapen dude with no face holding a chain. It says Friday the 13th, 1980.
Yeah, and it's like Friday the 13th in some block font. It's not even the classic drawn.
Looks like literal Blockbuster video font.
It looks like dog shit. It looks like $5 bin art is what it looks like.
It would be as if, let's say, the movie Reign of Fire, if you got the Blu-ray Steelbook, and it was I don't know, the Geico lizard? That's the equivalent I'm willing to make.
Or an outline of a dragon symbol.
Right.
Yeah.
On the cover, and then you change the Reign of Fire font. And there you go.
Someone drew the Skyrim logo from memory.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
I could probably do that.
That's exactly what that would be. That's exactly what that would be.
Oh, it looks really bad, and I don't know. When you pop it in, is every instance of Mrs. Voorhees' name bleeped, or should she never mention her son's name? Or she
excuse me, Mrs. Name redacted? Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or is it my son redacted drowned in the lake and nobody was watching?
Oh, it sure is. My son Jeremy was in the lake.
My son Jay.
I want to see the Swedish version of that, where they just they took all of those scenes and refilmed them in a back lot somewhere.
Mrs. Moore, please.
Mrs. Moore. No, it's Mrs. Morehouse from what the fuck? A terrible Friday the 13th slasher movie I saw when I was a teenager.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was just called Lake Blood. It was about Trevor Morehouse. I'm like, you sons of bitches.
You mean Blood Lake?
Yeah, I think that's it.
The SOV fucking
yes,
video?
Yes!
Yeah. Movie? Yeah, that movie's fucking great.
Let me talk about Trevor Morehouse. Oh, there's two of them, too. It's that's too many.
Yeah, so R.I.P. Friday the 13th, for reals.
Anyway, if you want to see that comedy, please go to our Instagram page and leave a comment. We've already got a string of comments that are fantastic, including stuff about Faceless Chain Guy 10, he goes to space.
And fucking, don't forget our other famous killers. We have Needleface.
Needleface. Yeah, Needleface and the Heckbringer ancestry.
Yeah. Sam Hain, the legend of Pumpkin Guy.
The sequel, Sowen.
Samhain.
I think somebody commented with Irish money grubbing, Irish money grubbing small person goes to space.
I want to see faceless chain guy versus pencil fingers.
Well, I think he called him Dream Sweater, which I think is really funny.
Dream Center was good.
Ah, okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure on the Facebook it was like pedophile knife fingers. I think that's what it was.
Oh, God.
Oh, whoops.
Anyway, dragons, or lack thereof.
Reign of not enough fire.
Rain of matches.
Do you think they were going for a multi-layered meaning with this fucking title?
Well, sure.
I have no idea.
Sure, because it's like post-apocalyptic, kind of.
Yeah, like we blew each other up. We created the Reign of Fire.
It's the reign of fire, the age of the dragon again, and the whatever's maybe.
The machines became sentient, and then they woke the dragons, and then
Yes.
both of them destroyed man, and Christian Bale's here to, come back and save us.
Or, well, it could be interpreted as like, like rain of fire, like it coming down from the sky out of a dragon's mouth.
Yeah, Judgment Day.
Yeah, Judgment Day. I love Jesus' style.
I'm not an expert on this, but I've seen many an episode of The X-Files, and the director of this, Rob Bauman, if I remember this correctly, correct me on this if I'm wrong, he was the director on 33 episodes of The X-Files, and he also fucking produced a ton of it, and he has these other amazing films that he came up with, at least one other amazing one. I mean, I kind of like the original X-Files film. It is, kind of goes in some weird places that I'm not too thrilled with, but overall, well, I enjoy it.
You want to hear something crazy? I have never seen the X-Files movies.
It's good. The second one was less like a movie and more like a long-ass episode,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
But, I only bring this up, honestly, because of the other movie he directed that I know Connor has a fucking place in his heart for.
Oh boy, I can't tell if you're being facetious.
Here we go.
2005 superhero classic, Elektra.
He did Elektra?
Here's the thing. That's a movie I have not seen. We're doing it for Phantom Zone at some point, but I have seen Daredevil. And if that is any indication of the quality of Elektra, then fuck it to death in the face, down a well. It's probably terrible.
Good lord.
You can wake me up when that's over, because no thanks.
Yeah. Daredevil was really bad, and if the one sequence where Elektra is stabbing pillows with a scythe set to evanescence is any indication of how her movie is,
Oh my god.
hard no thanks.
I've never seen it. I don't care. I don't want to see it.
Daredevil?
No, Elektra.
Oh, yeah, I don't think anyone saw Elektra.
I don't think so.
And apparently nobody saw this movie, and I'm kind of surprised.
I did.
I just saw it, let's see, look at my watch, 20 minutes ago?
Let me rephrase that.
I saw it! I finished it today!
Let me rephrase that. I saw this in the movie theaters.
Oh, okay. Strange thing, they made a GameCube game based on this, and I owned it, but I don't remember ever actually playing it.
What the fuck? I've never played that. This came out in high school when we were in high school, and
Yeah, 2002, right?
yeah, and I remember at the time I was huge into Bale. Like I was all about fucking American Psycho at the time.
Oh, how could you not be?
Right.
When was Equilibrium? Was that 2002?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't give a fuck when that came out. Movie Dumpster, Season 1, Episode 5? Equilibrium.
He did Equilibrium and Reign of Fire in the same goddamn year, and it kind of shows.
Did he really?
Whoa.
Well, I didn't see Equilibrium, but I went to go see Reign of Fire.
Well, I don't think Equilibrium had a big theatrical run, so I don't see how you would have found time to go see it.
I remember when it came out. I remember some friends seeing it, but I never saw it, and they were like, "It's pretty good," and I'm like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah, Joe and I had a mutual friend at the time who was fucking obsessed with Equilibrium.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy.
And he showed it to me, and I enjoyed it, and I recently rewatched it. Still is what it is.
It's fine.
Yeah. The other star in this movie, and his connection to the MDU is very near and dear to my heart, because a few years ago, when certain DC movies were getting off the ground, there was a strong rumor that Matthew McConaughey was going to be playing Eobard Thawne in the Flash movie, and that would have made my day for the rest of my life.
Time's a flat circle, okay? Listen, Barry.
I killed your mom. All right.
Listen, Barry. You just gotta sometimes you just gotta let me come back and kill you when you're a baby. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Barry, sit in this Lincoln. We'll talk about it, all right? Nothing. The only thing I like killing your mom more is driving a Lincoln.
I want to welcome him with open arms to the MDU. because I fucking love Matthew McConaughey.
What a fucking role to enter him with.
My goodness.
I used to despise him, and then he suddenly just, like, endeared himself to me by not doing any more of those bullshit romantic comedies he was doing.
Yeah, I guess.
Hey, man, you gotta build a career somehow.
You gotta make that money.
He's versatile.
But he was, like, dreadful in all of them. But it was like he stepped into, like, really darker roles, which is not to say he didn't do this before, because he was in, A Time to Kill?
I think so. I don't know.
I never saw it. I always remember Matthew McConaughey in an interview talking about his first movie role in Dazed and Confused, and being in a fucking bar, and some producer just was like, "Yeah, you got a good look. Why don't you come in and have a tryout?" And then he was in the fucking movie, and the rest is goddamn history.
That happens way more than you think.
Yeah, because, like, I heard Johnny Depp got put in Nightmare because Wes Craven's daughter was like, "Who is that man? He is beautiful."
Well, that too. But he's a handsome young man, and they need handsome young men in the teenage slasher movie. So let's plot crunch this fucker.
First there weren't dragons, and then there were credits. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty much, yeah. Christian Bale, the patron saint of Prosium, he is a child in the beginning of this movie.
I'm sorry.
So Christian Bale as a child has a mom who is a construction worker, ? And he goes down to see her in a mine and then ends up finding a fucking dragon, and the last of the dragon race breaks out and destroys the entire world. And then we are thrust into a post-apocalyptic world of ash and tomatoes and Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey fighting.
Blue chroma key.
Awful 2000s green-washed and blue-washed scenes.
What is the goddamn logic there? Just so that the flames are more fucking stand out more on the screen?
Yeah, it's also so the world can just look dead, but, like,
Sure.
you can make a world look dead without completely washing out every color. Look at George Miller. Like,
Well, yeah.
Right.
Fury Road is, like, the most vibrant movie I've ever seen, and it's like, I'm like, that's a fucked up world. Everything's dead there.
It's also very yellow,
Yeah.
as well. But I mean, this movie has that like signature 2000s like blue tinge or green tinge to everything.
Oh, yeah.
Except for the last few frames of this movie,
Yeah.
which are color corrected normally.
Also in this movie is a very, very young Gerard Butler with a head full of hair.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this little lad, he's going around with no beard.
He's so Scottish, it's not even funny.
No, he's got no beard, and he's running around, and he's like, where am I?
You're in the shit, Creedy. You're in the shit.
Christian Bale, I'm your best friend, and that's my whole character.
This is dragons.
Yeah.
So when the fuck did 300 come out?
2006.
Oh, okay, it came out a couple years later.
He would then go on to do Gamer.
And then he's in some fucking new movie now. We went to go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and there was like an ad for this the Cinemark movie theaters came up, and he's like, "Oh, hello, I'm promoting my new movie. Go see it." And I'm like, well, just show me the trailer. And he's like, "Here's a clip from my new movie." And it's like, he's like,
Oh, it's Eagle Has Fallen.
yeah, Eagle has fallen, and Angel has fallen, and he's like,
Michael?
he's like, "My name's Archangel, and you're my dad, and help me out because I've fallen." And then it's like, "Okay, go out and buy a ticket to this movie, and grab some popcorn, and grab your date, and go see Angel Has Fallen in theaters May 22nd. Never, because it sucks balls."
That is the third in a series, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Who could give a shit? They couldn't even show me the fucking trailer.
Yeah, it's a sequel to Olympus Has Fallen and, what is it, the other one, London Has Fallen?
Oh my God, yeah, you're right. That character he keeps fucking playing.
Yeah.
They must make money.
It looks like dog shit.
I gotta protect the president again.
Olympus Has Fallen is really fun. London Has Fallen is where you're like, okay, this didn't need 2 movies. Now it has 3.
And if you didn't need 2, here's the third one. Here you go. It's a Cinemark fucking product placement. He's gonna be eating popcorn and shit while he's fucking dodging bullets.
Kind of like Joe was setting up here, this movie opens with Christian Bale as a kid, and his name's Quinn. And
It's terrible slow-mo of these fucking birds.
Yeah, birds. They make a point of showing birds a whole lot in this film, and I'm still not entirely sure what the point of that is.
Because it's symbolism.
Oh, because, well, you think it's dragons, but it's not because it's birds.
Like birds can sense the dragons coming or some bullshit?
We'll get to that.
Canary in the coal mine, anybody?
Well, I think it's because they're basically they're airborne popcorn. So if there's birds in the sky, that means that they're not afraid. They're no longer afraid to fly or something. But maybe
I can almost buy into that. But we're in London.
I guess. I guess.
We're in nondescript London, and Christian Bale, baby Bale's running around with this construction site, and he bumps into Daisy and Mario and Luigi, and he fucking, stops for a second. They give each other a nice stare, and then, Mario, Luigi, and Daisy get on their pipe, and he goes down his.
Are you telling me that the fate of Mario, Daisy, and Luigi from the Mario movies, they were all killed by dragons?
I mean, that's why that sequel never happened, man. They were there, and they died.
No, the dragons are from the other side.
That's
where he came from.
You know what? That works a little bit too well.
That means Koopa City is also ashes. Wow, what a terrible way for that series to end.
Is it, though? It's Koopa's new secret weapon. So he hears some drums, a game with drums, and he walks down a corridor, and he fucking goes down an elevator. The one thing about this construction site is that everybody just doesn't give a shit that this kid's just running around.
Yeah, he walks in like he works there. Everyone's like, hey, Quinn, hey, Quinn, hey, Quinn, hey, Quinn, hi, hello, child.
Yeah, some adult tries to bum a cigarette off of him.
Yeah, he's like, oh, how you doing? Your mom's down there. Go get her. And and he fucking like
calm down there, Christopher Lambert.
He's got like everybody's got like hard hats and shit on and like safety equipment, and this kid is just
he's got like a fucking backpack.
Yeah, he's just fucking ski bopping around this fucking place. I'm like, what is happening? And then instead of like mom coming up from the fucking mine, they send him down into the mine to see his mother.
They send him down in this horrifying like cage elevator, like suspended by a single cable. And, like, he gets on and he, like, shits his pants. And I would, too. This thing's horrifying.
Oh, my God. And it's like, what, 200 feet down or some shit like that?
It's like a bird cage.
And he gets down there and fucking Alice Cree's just his mom.
Yeah.
I fucking love her. And she is so, like, criminally underused. She says, like, 5 things and then dies.
Yeah. She is a unexpected surprise in the Silent Hill movie because she shows up in that film and starts acting like
oh man, dude, she's great in that. She's great in Sleepwalkers, and yeah, I love her.
You know what's funny? She has a role in the movie Stay Alive, but they chopped every second of it out of that movie.
That's criminal. That would have been better. Maybe.
She is actually like a big person. She's a big exposition dump.
Really?
Towards the end of that. Yeah, she provides half the lore to that movie, and they just egg-sized it.
Hey, listen, we're gonna come back to that movie one day, Connor. Don't give all the fucking secrets away.
We are.
I got the fucking unrated DVD on my shelf right behind me.
I remember that night we watched it, and I wanted to die then.
The unrated DVD is the only way to watch that movie, if you choose to suffer that way.
I need less Frankie Muniz, more Alice Creech.
Sure.
But yeah, she's wonderful, and she shows up in this movie just to say hi.
Yeah, she's just like, hey, you didn't go, you left school and you didn't get your scholarship? Great. Well, you can't go to that school you wanted to go to because it's $3,000. And he's like, well, what if I ask my dad? And she's like, I don't think so. Bye.
She's like, you certainly could. And then
you certainly could. Have a Budweiser, child. Because we're giving out fucking beers down here, too. So this random fucking schmo off the side is like, he's like, hey, I just blew a fucking hole in this wall. Come here, kid. You're just about the right size. Why don't you fucking crawl in there and see what's in there?
Yeah, crawl into the arsehole of the world.
And he's like, oh, come on down to Moria. We're going to get the Arkenstone. Get your ass in that hole, boy.
Oh, you're small. Crawl in the small hole. I won't look in after you at all.
His mom's like, where'd Quinn go? No fucking idea.
He shimmies in front of the hole. I have no idea.
Beats me. Like, yeah, puts his fucking hand up on the wall and, like, blocks it.
I didn't send him into a cavern full of stuff.
I feel like this scene would be way more effective if I didn't know what this movie was about, because the second he goes in there, you see these fucking quote-unquote walls, but if you know it's about dragons, you're like, oh shit, there's a dragon right there.
Yeah, he steps in and like right away, any air of mystery is gone because like nothing looks like stone. And then he walks up to something. I'm like, those are fucking scales.
Right.
They look cool.
No, it's awesome. Also, the dragons in this movie are fucking cool.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
But like, again, this setup is so piss poor because it's like, okay, there's one dragon in there and he's supposed to be the male, the bull.
Right.
The main one. right?
But it looked like there was way more in there.
Well, they're all sleeping.
Is that what it is?
There's got to be at least a couple for him to procreate, but there can't be many.
There's got to be at least 2, the male and a female.
Yeah, because he's touching one, and that's where you see the wall looks like scales, and behind him there's movement, and that's the one that sees him.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, how does that make sense later?
Right.
And I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
It's not asexual. This isn't Godzilla 2000. Oh, excuse me, Godzilla 1999. God forbid.
1998. Barf.
Fuck.
Basically, they infer that they get up, they eat everything, they go back to sleep.
Yeah, they're like the fucking creeper. Every 23rd spring for 23 days, they get to destroy the entire world? Question mark?
Yeah. And go completely unchallenged.
They killed the dinosaurs, and then when humans repopulated the planet, I let them out, but we're not going to mention that. They came and ate everyone again.
I love when Christian Bale breaks this down just in a second.
Right, because this dragon that you guys are describing basically spits this, like, dragon breath cum at fucking Quinn. It just covers his body.
He fucking comes right in this kid's face.
That's what it looks like.
As soon as this thing spits in his face, the next time you get a vague close-up of Quinn, his eyes are bloodshot to fucking back. It's like, whatever this is really nasty, and you don't want to get it in your face.
Yeah, because it's like fucking gasoline, and the other one's...
Right.
It's like petroleum, whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, it's like napalm. It's napalm without being actually on fire. It's corrosive.
When they mix it, they have... Spoilers, they have 2 glands, which is really fucking cool. For the way that they describe how these dragons breathe fire, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, you guys ever see the fake documentary Discovery Channel aired where the premise was they discovered a dragon frozen in ice?
Yeah, and they made it like if dragons were real, this is how they would have. Yeah.
Yes, and they basically said they breathe, like they eat, and their body turns it into methane, and they chew on platinum. And that basically helps them create a spark, which they then breathe the methane onto, and that's how they breathe fire. Which is cool. But this is like, yeah, they have glands in the back of their throat or in their front.
This is way better because they have two glands in the mouth. They don't have to eat metal. They just have 2 glands in the mouth, and they shoot these 2 fucking almost like a snake shoots its venom out of its fangs, and it like shoots them together, and then as it breathes or screams or whatever, it shoots this fucking thing like a flamethrower as the 2 liquids combine and like turn into flames.
If you haven't seen the movie, anyone listening to this, like just look up an image of Rain of Fire, Dragon's Breath, and you could probably find like a screen cap of like it about to ignite. It looks fucking cool.
It's fucking cool. I think it's really awesome. And again, like I remember when I went to go see this, like I'm a huge fan of dragons and fantasy movies and shit like that.
I fucking love dragons.
Yeah, and it's just like, fuck, sign me the fuck up. Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale, dragon movie? Okay, here I go.
I love dragons so much I started following wrestlers who were dragon themed without ever seeing matches they had. That's how much I love dragons. And let me tell you something, Brett Como is fucking terrible.
I have no idea who that is.
No one knows who he is.
So this dragon, which we find out much later in the film is the male, but might as well just get out of the way now, chases this kid through the fucking arsehole of the world, and then he runs out covered in this fucking, petroleum jelly, and he runs up to his mother, and he's like, oh, God, there's something in there.
And then this guy's smoking a cigarette in the mine?
Yeah. In the mine, what the fuck?
They're the most irresponsible fucking construction workers ever. They're drinking beers, they're smoking cigarettes. Who knows what there's a fucking methane deposit or something?
Quinn, you got a light?
Fuck it. Oh, my match went out. Oh, here's a fucking dragon.
God, any other movie, if this was like a Godzilla film, let's just say, they probably would have blamed the fucking smoking for the explosion and wouldn't have gone after the damn monster for another hour.
The people in both versions of My Bloody Valentine are more safe than these guys are, okay?
It's true.
And that's a movie that didn't need any of it, just need people getting pickaxed to death.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they go into the hole to basically see what Quinn's fucking yelling about, and Quinn starts heading up the elevator with his mother. And as they're going up, you just hear, like, screaming as this fucking fireball engulfs everybody in this fucking mine.
Yeah.
And they start going up the elevator, and like midway, it's actually, in my opinion, a kind of a cool shot where you have just the flame and the smoke from the flame just kind of engulfing this entire cavern, and then shooting up towards this elevator and like through this fucking like white smoke.
It is cool.
Yeah, this dragon literally like climbs up with its claws on this fucking grate.
This is when I said, wow, this movie better not shit the bed, because so far this is my shit.
Yeah, it's awesome, right? And you're like, okay, this is going to be really cool.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. The opening stretch is awesome.
So this fucking dragon climbs out and in the process smashes this elevator that they're in. And Christian Bale is stuck in this elevator and Alice Keys gets fucking smushed between fucking these two pieces of metal.
Bye! She gets Pete Postle-weighted.
Yep, see ya.
Except she didn't have a gold watch to hoard into her death.
No, or sandals.
Here's the thing with that, too. They're only halfway down this fucking shaft.
Right.
How did he get out of there?
Yeah, I have no idea how he got out of there. I have no idea.
I don't know, he could have been down there for days, realistically, if this thing got out and just started killing people.
Right. Everybody would be like, I don't give a fuck. We're not looking in the hole.
Yeah, because, like, what's it going to do? Like, after the screaming stops, is he like, hello?
Hi, is anybody out there?
Is there an adult?
I'm stuck in a cage that's all smooshed up.
People are dying, kid. We'll get to you later.
He was training to get out of the fucking hole in Batman in Dark Knight Returns, man.
Oh, there you go.
He used that training later in life.
I was born in it. What about you, Mr. Bale?
Morning by Dragonfire.
God, the thought that just crossed my goddamn mind after you said that. Now I'm just picturing this fucking male dragon as Bane. Thank you.
He broke baby Bale's back and left it. No, he killed his mom.
I never escaped.
They make a point to show this dragon do like a Jurassic Park T-Rex move where the fucking eye just like catches his.
Yeah.
And then he has like some serious PTSD, I guess, for the rest of his life. And honestly,
I mean, I fucking would.
I couldn't blame him.
He hears a fucking gunshot, pearls drop on the ground.
And then it's all in slow motion because Zack Snyder filmed it.
Yeah.
Martha!
You ever dance with the devil under the dragon moon?
In the pale dragon, whatever, I'm just riffing here.
Whatever, I'm just kidding, kid. Kaplooey, your parents are dead.
I'll soon be retconned in a dream that Val Kilmer has.
I didn't kill your parents, Two-Face did. Or something.
So then, yeah, fast forward, and Christian Bale's an adult with a weird beard.
Weird haircut, too, honestly.
Weird everything.
He's got like a half bowl cut.
Christian Bale's facial hair is the strangest thing ever.
It's sparse.
Because it never grows in. Oh, yeah! It's sparse but thick because it doesn't cover everything. But what it does cover, it grows in very thick and very straight.
Yeah, it's like a controlled burning in a forest. It's very well known that Bale is a method actor. I'm sure he was insistent on making it his own beard, which is fine.
It's my beard. No one else's.
I'm not gonna eat for 5 fucking days before I do this scene. Now shut the fuck up.
There you go. That's the accent of it. He's very fucking British. I keep forgetting that.
Oh, he's all over the place, mate.
He's fucking British.
He's fucking talking to you. Oh, good.
Especially when he's screaming at a light guy.
Oh, God.
Oh, good for you.
It's fucking distracting.
It's fucking distracting.
I wanted him to just start yelling that at fucking Gerard Butler in the middle of the movie.
Why don't you just settle down there? Just calm down, Christian.
Before I kick you into a hole. The same hole you came out of, you stupid child.
You fucking child.
God, a lot of holes involving multiple people in this situation.
Yeah.
Look, the hole that Leonidas kicked people down in is the same hole that Christian Bale had to crawl out of in both instances, as a child and as an adult.
Oh, and the Bane dragon climbed out of it too. Okay.
Sure did.
It's a hole that's been there for a long time.
It's a thing, it's a whole thing.
So yeah, we flash forward to the future and we kind of get Christian Bale talking over like news clippings of like how the world basically nuked itself into oblivion trying to kill the dragons and it just didn't work.
Yeah, but he also gives some fucking bunk ass histories. He's like, yeah, and then the dragons came and they were, they came and they fucking killed the dinosaurs and they killed everything and then, man came, ? And then the dragons went to bed and then, the dragons woke up and then killed everything again.
Yeah, the dinosaur thing is, like, you're inferring that. You have no way to back that up.
No, not at all. And I'm like, what, are you just going to rewrite fucking history here? What are you talking about?
Well, he's going to rewrite movie history.
He sure does. Oh my God, you think that's what it is? Christian Bale, everybody's dead, so Christian Bale's is like, I'm going to make this up as I go along.
No one's here to challenge me.
Yeah, right? He's rewriting history books like, then there were dinosaurs, and then the dragons killed them.
Yeah, John Hurt hates this guy.
Hey, wait a minute. You can't do that.
Wait, You're stepping on my toes!
Meanwhile, the bartender is off in a corner, like, trying not to be noticed. Just putting his hand up in front of his face.
He's writing everything down in a small notepad. He's like, all right, yep, Christian dragons. Okay, this is good.
My partner is gonna fight dragons in about 10 minutes.
See, I knew a guy named Balicus.
Christian Bale, he crawled out of the hole, and then you got your fucking dragons.
And then he became a superhero named the Batmanicus.
He is the Batman who fought the dragons. He's fucking Draconius. That's his name.
Gact is like, his head is on the bar, he's passed out, like no one's awake.
Josh Hartnett finally comes in after like weeks, months, years of not seeing him.
What have I missed?
And he's just like, hey, bartender, why don't you shut up for a minute? Your fucking cousin's going to be here in about 20 minutes. He's going to come up in a tank.
That's cousin. Holy shit, man. I haven't seen him since I don't even fucking remember.
I got a pop-up funny about him too, though.
We have this like scene where Christian Bale, he's working in this fucking mine under this castle in Northumberland, fucking England.
Oh, he's getting sweaty. He's got his shirt off. Something for the ladies here. Let me tell you something. Hard bodies abound in this film.
And like a single woman.
Fully clothed.
Yeah, she's covered from the neck down.
Like Jewish woman. Like buttoned up from neck to toes. Which is a good, nice change of pace. Because I'll take Matt and Christian with their shirts off wrestling each other.
I can't remember her name. She doesn't show up yet, but I can't remember her name, but she is beautiful. So it doesn't matter what she's wearing.
Yeah, she's a Varwolf.
Oh my god. She's also Natalia from goddamn GoldenEye, but we'll get to her.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Boris!
Holy shit, I thought I knew her from somewhere.
I'm invincible.
Christian Bale basically runs this group of survivors that have this like fucking blasted out keep.
It's a fucking castle. It's the last castle in England.
He's doing a pretty fucking good job, I gotta say.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, a lot of my frustration with this film came not only from having to watch it over the course of 7 days for various reasons we don't have to get into, but I watched it twice, and the first time was over the course of about 5 days, and every time I came back into it, I was like, leave this fucking guy alone!
Connor, I just have one question for you. Do you have a pulse? Are you breathing?
I'm okay.
How is Elvis, and have you seen him lately?
I live in Las Vegas.
So pretty good chance.
I saw an Elvis impersonator on a cruise once, and I was like, I think it's him.
Dragons, man, look at you every time.
So even though Quinn is basically running this place to keep everyone alive, and he's keeping in mind that he was also like one of the only survivors of this mine shaft attack, and he's one of the, last living people on the fucking planet after these dragons destroyed the majority of it.
He's probably one of the only people who's ever actually been face-to-face with these things and walked away.
Right, and the male at that, which we find out much later in the film that there's only one of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the implication of how many people are left, like, he might be one of maybe a handful of people on the planet who got to look at one of these things.
Yeah.
This is like, I joke about Terminator because Bale was in it, but, like, let's be real. This is like Terminator, like, level fucking humanity. Like, we're down to just scraps.
Yeah, this isn't a soft apocalypse. There's practically no one left. There's pockets of humanity. It's scattered.
Oh, yeah. It's a fucking reboot of the planet Earth.
Hardcore.
Oh, it's been scorched. Like, there's nothing left.
Yeah, and whatever the dragons didn't burn, we did.
Exactly.
In an attempt to kill them.
Bale's been basically taking care of business, and he's got some dissenters who this guy Eddie is just an annoying fuck the entire movie.
Who are thundering dumbasses.
They have, like, harvest times where they go to, get food. And now, they can only grow food, really, in this small little patch. And, like, Christian Bale comes out, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you gonna go? What are you doing? Why are you gonna go eat the fucking food? I told you no. We all agreed.
Yeah, Eddie basically wants to go pick food now, but Christian Bale comes up and hits him with,
Because he's hungry.
Yeah, but Christian Bale hits him with ironclad logic that you can't argue with. He comes out and says, like, if you pick everything now, there'll be nothing left there'll be nothing left to seed, and nothing will grow next year. You will kill us in advance.
Because they need to germinate and grow seeds, what have you.
It's been let's say 30, maybe 40 years since this all happened, and originally, you would think they would take the guy who's protecting them for God knows how long's fucking opinion seriously.
Well, there's always going to be that one jerk-off who's just like, I know better, fuck you, and then fucks it up for everybody. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, and like this is where I first started getting frustrated with the movie itself, because I'm not really into forgiving, like, just impenetrable human stupidity for the sake of drama, because all it does is make me angry.
Well, for sure, but like Joe just kind of pointed out, it is, when you think about it, for lack of a better term, it is kind of what would happen. It is somewhat realistic.
Oh, of course. But you know what? Go by yourself. You don't take anybody else with you. If you don't take children with you, you don't get to.
It's a solo mission, like, at night.
Yeah.
But this guy's a fucking coward, so fuck him.
Yeah, he's a coward, and he brings younger people with him, he brings children with him.
And kills them all, basically.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
Yeah, because they just say fuck it, and like after Bale confiscates the keys, they just say, we're gonna go anyway at night.
They sneak out after dark, and like the dragons can see, you find out later that like the dragons can see better in the dark.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's fucking dragons out there. What are you doing?
And it's not like they're like some kind of creature that is like, multicolored, like red, orange, pink or some shit. Like they blend into rocks. Like what are you thinking?
If one is laying on the horizon, you're not going to tell if you won't be able to tell if it's a mound of dirt or a creature.
It's the same disgusting color as the color grade of this movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they also they never come outright and say this until like maybe kind of towards the end, I'll say. But it's super implied that these dragons are really smart, and they basically know what they're fucking doing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And not even that they're super smart, too. I mean, Bale makes a point to say in the beginning that, like, since everything is torched, they're super desperate and they're starving, so they're even more aggressive than they normally would be, which is probably really, really aggressive. Also, they feed on ash.
Yeah, but they also eat people.
I don't know what that's about. What the fuck is that? Do they huff the shit? Do they lick it up? What do they do? And we never actually see them eat.
I imagine, like, it can't just be, like, ash from, like, a tree. Like, I imagine it would probably, like, I'm not sure if there's much of a chemical, well, I'm sure there is. Like, I'm sure the chemical compound of, like, organic ash versus, like, cardboard is different.
Maybe.
I don't know. It wasn't thought out very well, because it's like, we're eating people, we're eating other dragons, and it's like, well, they're starving. And it's like, well, he didn't burn it and, like, suck the ash out like a fucking, like the Sanderson sisters or some shit.
The way I saw that scene, and maybe I just like misunderstood it, was because basically they go to these crops of like tomatoes and corn and shit, and it's like in the middle of this totally fucking destroyed town that you can only assume the dragons fucking just destroyed one afternoon.
Yeah, and like what angered me more, I'm like, that's a fantastic tomato patch, and this dude's gonna fuck it up.
Well, yeah, but like as I'm watching the movie and they're in there fucking grabbing the fruit and vegetables, I'm sitting there thinking, this is a setup.
Oh, yeah.
These dragons are purposely allowing this to stay here just so they can get a fucking meal from eating people.
Yeah, but do they?
I don't know. Like, now that you're talking about them eating the ash, I do remember them mention that a few times in the film. So, I don't know. It could be a little bit of both. It could be like, they could be omnivores. I don't know. They can't eat the vegetables straight up, so they burn them and then they just chew down on them.
Well, I would easily say that, like, if an animal is running low on its primary food source, it would easily look to something else. And, like, a cat can theoretically eat a couple vegetables here and there, but after a while, if that's his primary source of nutrition, it's going to get sick.
Right. Like, even in the wintertime, deer eat birds to sustain.
So I wonder if it is just as simple as they can't eat the vegetables straight, so they burn them and then they just choke them down.
Also, like, I imagine, like, a tomato to an animal that big is just, like, it's like me eating a breadcrumb.
Yeah.
Right. Or like a fucking cherry.
Right. But specifically, the dude, one of the people say, like, oh, he doesn't want to be bothered with us. He's going to suck the ash or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, then why are the fucking dragons even coming after people?
It's a weird, unnecessary plot point I could have just done with, hey, they're trying to eat us because they're fucking hungry.
Right. Or they're eating each other, and that's fine. But, again, I guess that kind of would bunk the whole fucking thing, because it's like, well, they would have eaten each other already by this point.
Right.
All the other dragons.
So yeah, this dragon basically sees them eating, gathering the food, comes in, fucking burns them, eats a couple of them, and then Bale comes in with these fucking fireproof suits on.
Christian Bale in Backdraft. Kurt Russell's there.
I actually thought that was a really cool idea with the flame retardant suits, because I'm like, that's a handy piece of technology that nobody in fantasy films ever has a chance to use, because it's not a technology they have.
Not at that point in time, no. And they have fucking, like, fire engines, basically, full of water.
Yes. I thought that was cool.
It is cool.
And I also liked how that fire-resistant armor, let's call it, like, only kind of works to a point because this is still a dragon.
Well, yeah, and eventually, like, I imagine if you're exposed to that long enough, it'll just cook you from the inside.
Yeah, he looks like fucking Donnie from Don't Go in the House.
Kinda, or like the fucking E.T. Scientists.
Oh, there you go.
And I think the idea being is as long as you're not like in a direct flame burst, you're okay. Like if you're just going through the fire that's already been laid down by one of these things, that you can survive for a little bit. But if you're getting hit by a full fucking fire breath out of one of these dragons, like you're kind of fucked.
Oh, yeah.
You're probably gonna feel it.
You might feel it, or you might just burn instantly.
Well, because I feel like the two different liquids would be like all over you, burning you alive.
Right, exactly. So a couple of these people get killed, and Eddie gets saved, and I'm assuming it's like his wife or son, and a few others get saved by Bale and Creedy in these fucking fireman tanks.
Nah, they're fucking dead already. His wife and kids fucking died a long time ago. I guess that's why this guy's got nothing to lose.
He makes it a point about burying his family.
He's a fucking coward. Fuck this guy.
Because he throws it in Bale's face. He's like, I'm trying to keep these people safe. He's like, you couldn't keep my family alive or something like that. But like, it's
Yeah.
But it's never inferred they were killed by dragons. Like they could have just died from sickness because you're living in a stink hole.
Yeah, now I'm gonna eat your tomatoes.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck you for keeping this many of us alive for so long. I'm gonna fucking go eat your tomatoes. Your perfectly grown, delicious-looking tomatoes.
Yeah, it fucking pissed me off.
We get these like two scenes, maybe not back to back, but like within quick succession of these like, I'll call them heart-to-hearts between Creedy and fucking Quinn. And like the first one is just basically like them talking about how can we go on with this? Like everything's going to hell. And fucking Quinn's just drinking his life away, essentially. And then we go to this other scene, which...
I love this so much.
They're doing a fucking, like, play or some shit, and they're sword fighting.
Oh, it's great. For the kids?
For the kids, yeah, for the kids of the camp.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, not getting it.
Really?
And then I'm like, wait a second. What is he wearing? I'm like, God damn it.
Is that your story you came up with, Mr. Quinn? Sure is.
Quinn and Creedy are reenacting the climactic fight between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, complete with Gerard Butler pretending to lose a hand, kids gasping, and then him going, "No, I'm fine."
Yeah, it's the whole Empire fucking ending.
Yeah, with the dialogue intact, and they pretty much end it right when after the father reveal, and like these kids react like they're.
It's so cute and awesome.
It's so cute. I fucking loved it.
Well, wouldn't you? You never heard of Star Wars before?
Oh, yeah, exactly. No, these kids have no fucking idea what Star Wars is.
That's why I love it, because to them it's a brand new story, and they have no idea who the hell these people are.
Kind of makes you think about history in general.
Yeah, I mean, like, after this planet's fucking torched and somehow someone discovers all those archive films underground, like, I'm sure they'll pull Star Wars out and go, is this a documentary?
Yeah, if they could even still play it, right?
Yeah, it's on some, like, dead format.
Yeah.
The only other thing of note in this scene, because it comes up a few times later on, is that after they do this play, they have like this prayer that they do, which is essentially just like a bunch of sayings that help like basically teach you how to protect yourself against dragons or dragon attacks, and it's kind of cool.
It's like a peace of mind mantra.
But I like this because instead of using religion as to put their faith into something that doesn't exist, it's used to kind of build these rules to survive.
Yeah.
And you're building it into the generation coming up behind you.
Right.
So these kids would grow up knowing, like, yeah, we have to keep, like, we know the deal because we've been told these stories and, we've been given this information and this saying for years.
And taught so young that maybe they can do something about it, or somebody will eventually.
They should have made fucking Eddie sit in on this meeting. Hey, Eddie, you need a little retraining. Come on.
You telling me he should have been held back?
Eddie should have just been publicly executed. Because it's one of those things where it's like, see, this is what happens when you try to fucking steal from the community.
Yeah.
Because there's only a handful of us and we all have to work together. And there's no room for this horse shit. So off with his head. Or, you know what? Feed him to the fucking dragon. There you go.
Eddie shouldn't have even been brought back to that camp. They should have gone home without him. And if someone asked it, like, dragons got him.
You know what would have been a better plot? Everybody regressed. And now we're doing fucking... You know what? You ever see Dragon Slayer with Janosch?
Yeah.
He's the main character. Yeah, it's fucking great flick, dude. I mean, sans the magic, but we can, tie people to fucking stakes.
Yeah, why not?
Out in the middle of fucking fields and sacrifice them to the dragons, right? Keep them away.
Just like Andromeda with the Kraken. Let's do it.
There you go.
Eddie, you're next.
Fucking A, Eddie.
Or exile, which is basically in that setting is a death sentence. Like, you go ahead, walk that way and see how long you last.
Well, because if you really think about it, like, he basically just fucked them hard because all of their crops got destroyed.
He probably killed a handful of people that haven't died yet because of how much food he got destroyed.
Bale even says it. He's like, we're fucked. next thing. So like,
Yeah.
So that's the fucking first strike for why Bale does what he does in this movie, right? So like, there's one thing that is gonna kill the people that he's been protecting, and then we're moving on to the next one, which is
Hey, bartender, it's your cue. Get ready.
all right. So this is what happened. So when the fucking dragons came out of the hole in England, well, it wasn't just England that was affected, you see. It was the whole fucking world. So in America, we have a good buddy of mine, Denton Van Zandt. He's a dragon killer from Kentucky. He's a good man. Here he comes. Look at him. He's driving that tank over there.
There he is. I called him.
The fact that the bartender is calling him a good man already makes me nervous.
Yeah, already makes me call his morals into question. But then again, I should call his morals into question anyway, because he basically incites revolution and lets everybody else do the hard work.
Pretty much.
He's an American.
I'm from fucking Kentucky.
Yeah, these fucking hoorah fucking jackass Americans roll up on Christian Bale's Fortress Keep.
Like, literally roll up in tanks.
Straight up. And I'm like, where the fuck are they getting gas for this shit? And a fucking helicopter. I'm like, the world's fucking dead. What are you talking about? Where are you getting batteries and shit from?
And the whole thing is like, Quinn runs down there to talk to him, and he's like, listen, we need supplies. We need gas. And then, like, the helicopter isn't there yet, and he's talking about how he's got a plane, and Quinn is just like, yeah, bullshit, I haven't seen a plane in years.
Here comes the fucking chopper.
Well, yeah, so Van Zandt, he's basically trying to convince Quinn that he's not a bullshit artist, and he pulls out this dragon tooth on a fucking necklace.
And he's like, you ever see this, you stupid-ass caveman?
He's like, yeah, dragon's tooth, so what? And he's like, in Kentucky, they came down on us, and it was like twilight. We call it magic hour. And these sons of bitches, they came down on us twice and didn't hit us. And I figured it out. I had an epiphany.
They see real good in the daytime, and they see even better at night. But they can't see in the twilight. So that's when me and the Kentucky irregulars went out, and we fucking stabbed a goddamn dragon in his throat and killed his ass, and I got his tooth. Can I come inside? Give me some gas.
Yeah, give me some food. I don't understand the idea that these dragons can see not so good at dusk.
I kind of actually buy into it. Picture yourself driving in your car, and maybe it's not the best example because you have a fucking windshield in the way, but you know that there's that certain time of day, if the sun's hitting it right, you can't fucking see shit.
It's true. And that's not even the problem I have. Like, that's fine. I can buy that. Easy. What I can't buy is how these motherfuckers haven't been ransacked by these fucking dragons already that are voracious.
Okay, that's my thing. Like, I don't care. Like, especially with how this group of soldiers essentially operates, what we see in the next few minutes. Like, I'm sorry, but their tactical approach to these dragons is suicide.
It's suicide, but it seems like it's pretty fucking effective.
Yeah, but it's completely nonsensical when you think about it.
How so?
First of all, they're driving in machines that require fuel.
Well, I mean, that's the first thing against it. I'll agree to that.
They aren't getting that far. Unless there's like fucking depots just hanging out around everywhere. But I would assume that they were blown up. If everything has been turned to ash or exploded,
right,
I would assume that anything that was containing any type of combustible fuel has been eradicated. And that kind of pisses me off throughout this film, because, like, how are you going to say that, like, everything's been decimated, everything's dead and burnt to a fucking crisp, and then we're driving around? Because when we go to fucking London later, everything is ashed over, okay? It's burnt to a fucking crisp, and then we're just driving around fucking trucks like no big deal.
That, and so the next part of this is that Matthew McConaughey's military troop here has this unit they call the Archangels.
Ugh.
And the Archangels, what they do is they get to a high altitude where the dragons don't normally fly.
And then Gerard Butler came in, check out my movie. I'm the Archangel.
Angel has fallen. Watch it at all your Cinemark movie theaters.
Archangel, go to your Cinemark theater, order some popcorn and soda.
Drink Coca-Cola products and go see my movie, Angel has fallen. Here's some dragons again. Back to the movie. Go ahead, McConaughey. Take it away.
So the Archangel's job is to get into a helicopter, this helicopter, fly at an altitude that I don't know if helicopters can properly reach.
I know they're not supposed to go. They're not like, it's not like a jet, right? Because the fucking the doors are open, and at some point you have to wear an oxygen mask, so it can't go that high. Correct?
It is also a military helicopter, just to make a point about that.
But what I know about Halo jumpers too, or like those is that they usually jump out of a jet.
Listen, you're shooting my fucking, my whole theory down in like Swiss cheese. I don't even have CB Smith here to like confirm or deny any of this shit.
It's all falling apart, and Sean's like, "Shut up! You're fucking up my joke."
I guess I kind of went into it with like the John Woo logic, where it's like, yeah, they never reload that gun, but I really like what's happening.
Look, it's fine.
Yeah, no, that's I understand that, but my thing with it, okay, this is probably a personal thing, but if anybody else agrees with me, please let me know. The idea of the Archangel is that they get to a certain altitude and they perform a high altitude jump, and they have kind of like these wingsuits. And basically, their job is to essentially ambush these dragons from the air and hit them, I guess, like, if you get directly in their shit, like in their face, like they don't seem like they have a lot of time to react. Especially if you're coming at them from a top. Problem is, they say the average Archangel dies in 17 seconds. If there are barely any humans left, then maybe you ought to reconsider your tactical options to maintain some level of manpower.
That's why McConaughey's like, "Hey, can we borrow some of your people, please?"
Well, right. That's his fucking famous line this entire film.
Yeah.
You should immediately distrust this guy because his approach to dealing with these dragons is like, yeah, I just throw people at them until they die.
And the whole thing is like they're doing this operation like partially because the dragon fucking found the castle and is attacking it, but also because I guess he's just trying to show like that they know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey basically rolls up and starts swinging his dick around immediately.
Yeah, it's a psychological ploy because he's like he's so fucking happy that there's a dragon flying around, because as soon as he takes it down, he'll be able to fucking take all of these people away from Christian Bale.
Exactly.
Yeah, he will be able to manipulate this situation, which
right.
like creates some cool drama at first, but then like just the way it plays out later on and as the movie progresses, I was buying anyone keeping him around less and less, and I was just like, this is like it also makes Christian Bale's character, who has successfully kept these people alive for so long, look like an absolute fucking dunce.
Right. And I guess the problem I have is that like McConaughey just stays a quote unquote good guy through the whole film, but like then you can argue the fact that, like, well, everybody's going to die, and I think they even bring this up, but, like, everybody's going to die in this fucking castle anyway.
Exactly.
So why don't you just go die fighting?
Yeah, he says, like, he kept these people alive for, this many years. He's like, nah, you're just killing them slower.
So let's forget about the gasoline and the height of the helicopter for a second.
Right.
The way they fight these fucking dragons...
Fuck your logic!
Or the apples that they have, but go on.
They have these, I don't even know what the fuck you want to call it, triangulators, and they have 3 of them to, essentially, they get on their fucking motorcycles. Again, don't know how they get the gas. We're going to ignore that for the moment.
It's a 3D mapping device.
Yes.
Yeah, they're, because they call them, what, vertical 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, they're like pinpoints they got to put on the ground.
They make this triangle, which creates the 3D map. Now, in the process of that, they then feed that information to McConaughey in the tank and to, Jansen, who we kind of skipped over, but she is Natalia from GoldenEye, the pilot of this helicopter.
She's Van Zandt's, like, point woman.
Exactly, and she can basically get this information and then tell her archangels where to dive. Unfortunately, the dragon kills one of the people with these triangulators and also fucking essentially just bum rushes the fucking helicopter and knocks a bunch of the guys out of it mid-flight.
Yeah.
And one of the guys of the triangulators gets killed because he thinks it's a great idea to try to ride a motorbike up a rocky-ass hill.
Yeah, and then Bale fucking rides out on his fucking horse and...
gets it done in half the time.
Yeah, and then he puts the fucking last beacon up, and then that's when the fucking map kicks on in the helicopter, and the fucking dragon is, like, right up their ass.
Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, the entire time Bale's trying to catch up to this fucking, like, exploded motorcycle, you just hear McConaughey yelling into his microphone, Piscataway, check in. Piscataway, come on, check in.
God damn it, I hope he's not dead, Piscataway.
Yeah, after the 4th missed call, you think, like, all right, that guy's fucking dead.
Oh, Piscataway, put up your fucking thing, because I can't see, but I will bring up the 3D grid.
I mean, for all we know, it's his fucking brother.
Could be. He's very upset about it later.
I mean, we don't ever find out. But yeah, long story short, like, they jump out of the helicopter / fall out of it. And they have these like nets that they fire at the fucking dragon's wings. I guess the idea being, collapse the wings and it's just gonna plummet into the earth.
It's pretty cool, and it'll for sure die if it falls that fucking high.
Oh yeah, totally. That's gonna fucking collapse its spinal cord and everything.
Yeah, and break his fucking dome piece.
They actually execute on it, but I guess they're just so high up, it's not enough to have the dragon just hit the ground. It breaks out of the net. And then it kills, I think...
They also don't get a clear shot, though.
Right, because it's cloudy as fuck.
Yeah, and, like, the dragon bumps this fucking plane, and, like, one of the dudes falls out way before they all are supposed to go out, so they're kind of, like, trying to play catch-up. That's why they don't get a good beat on this fucking dragon.
Yeah, and that's, like, I think, like, part of my, like, the other frustrations I have with the scene was that, like, it's... Matthew McConaughey's like, all right, time to swing. I'm going to turn left and better duck because my dick is huge. He's like, here's our brilliant military plan. That falls apart within seconds. And, like, people just start getting murdered instantly.
Well, something goes wrong on the ground, and that fucks everything up.
Yeah.
But that's the whole biker thing.
Yeah.
Because
then the one dude, the one jumper, I can't remember what happens to him, but he just falls straight into the earth.
That's exactly what happens to him.
Yeah.
Well, he can't see the ground because of the clouds.
Yeah, you see his dot on the map and it's like boop 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 boop.
Because he's outrunning the fucking dragon, and the dragon just like stops, and he's like, "Oh, he's not on me anymore. Oops, there's the fucking ground." Splat.
Quinn basically has this fucking horse, and the dragon's like sees him, and he starts riding this thing. This cult's fucking booking it.
Dragon's like, lunch!
McConaughey's just like, take that 1,600 pounds of horse meat and ram it right down my throat. Ram it right down there.
He literally says that.
He does. Ride it right down my throat, Bale.
He's on top of this fucking tank that he was earlier straddling like it was his fucking Johnson. And he's just got this massive, like, harpoon out of the goddamn Hobbit or something.
It is a ballista. It is awesome. Like,
oh, it's fucking... he's got a fucking black arrow in there. He's got the last one.
Yeah.
Apparently. Because you never see him fire this thing again.
Call me Bard the Bowman, where I fucking came from.
Fucking, my name's Bard, and you're about to go down in history, smog.
The bartender kind of pipes in. I think you were mixing up a couple stories there, cuz.
Listen, man.
Shut up, Legolas was there. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. I don't know who this Tolkien guy is, but this is my fucking story. And in my story, Matthew McConaughey kills a fucking dragon with a black arrow. You get me, punk? Gak just fucking takes a shot and falls asleep again.
He hits the floor finally, and Hartnett's got his hands out like, what have you been doing the whole time?
So McConaughey shoots a fucking arrow or a harpoon through this thing's chest, and it's really cool. It flies over the fucking ridge and just fucking slams into the ground in front of the castle.
Yeah, and it when you get a close-up of this thing a little later on, and it's like, it's kind of a cool visual because... It didn't just hit the ground and die. It hit the ground and its fucking limbs broke and its wings split apart and its face is busted open. I'm like, yeah, that's what would happen if you fucking fell out of the sky like that.
What's even cooler is like when it falls and hits the ground, there's like a big cloud of dust and it's a CG dragon. And then when the dust clears, it's all practical and it looks fucking great.
It's a practical dragon. It's really cool looking.
It looks amazing.
I cannot state enough how good the dragons look in this movie.
Oh, they're fucking awesome.
The way that they designed them, the way they animated them, the way that they look like they could be real.
Yeah.
I have no problems with the CG in this flick at all.
No, this movie has no problems as far as like the actual production design and like the effects gone into it and the sets. Like everything looks great. The color is the one thing, but like nothing looks blatantly obviously fake or distracting.
Mm-mm. They kill this dragon and cut to the night and they're all fucking celebrating getting drunk. And Van Zandt looks so bitter and pissed off about this whole situation.
He looks like pulsating vein forehead kid meme. Like he's like,
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I kind of agree with him.
Okay, to an extent, but then to walk up to someone who like has a literal mass graveyard outside of this castle.
Well, that scene happens.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like it's really insensitive to walk up to anyone and start comparing tragedies because there's no winner there.
Fucking McConaughey walks up like everybody's having a party, right? Because this dragon's dead. He's like, hey, everybody listen up. He's like, y'all partying because there's a fucking dragon's dead. He's like, but 3 of my men are dead. And he's like, you envy a country that has heroes. And he's like, I pity the ones that don't or that need them or some shit. And he's like, you're all a bunch of fucking assholes. And, oh, yeah, we're never going to kill all these fucking dragons. If 3 people are going to die every time we kill one, it's going to take us 200 years to do it.
Well, then maybe your strategy sucks, Matt.
We're talking about the guy who is driving around the countryside trying to take out dragons one at a time.
Yeah. Like, you're going to lose people. It's going to happen every time.
Without, like, guns or anything. There's like a harpoon.
I wonder if he's just pissed because, like, he hasn't lost somebody in a long time and, like, he's not used to fighting in fucking London where the skies are just, like, grayed out all the time.
I guess.
But he doesn't want to, like, admit that.
I guess, but isn't the whole world like this? It's almost like nuclear winter. There's so much ash just fucking all over the place.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, if everything had been burned down to the extent that they say it is, and at some point if anybody tried hitting him with, like, let's say as much nuclear ordnance as possible, you'd block out the sun for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you bring up a good point. You both do.
Yeah, I think that's actually been talked about a lot with the dangers of nuclear war. It's not even the explosions. It's not even what happens when the bombs fall. It's what happens afterwards.
Yeah, in the fallout. In the same breath, shouldn't there be plenty for these dragons to eat if they eat ash?
Yeah.
And they're starving.
But we've already established that they don't really talk about how that makes any sense.
No.
So.
They could just hang out by the volcano where Kazuya's throwing people in. They'd have plenty to eat.
Yeah, yeah, straight up.
McConaughey continues being an asshole as he goes over to this fucking mass grave and he's like staring down at it, and Bale comes out with his fucking horse. And he's like, they have a little one-on-one talk, and McConaughey just kind of gets in his face and he's like, you know what, pal? I lead, you follow.
Fuck you.
And I'm like, okay, that's a good way to get him motivated. Next fucking scene, he's like, yeah, you know what? We're having a rough shop at it. And I'm just like, okay, a second ago you're being a total dickhead to Bale, and now you're just like, yeah, we really need your help.
Because he needs his cooperation, because he's like, how the fuck am I supposed to get all his goddamn man? Well, let me be a nice guy. Here I go.
But I also, I think Bale shuts him down in the scene before a lot because, like, McConaughey says, he's like, I lost 3 men today, and Bale is like, you're standing in a field where I've buried hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Do not come at me with that shit.
Yeah.
And he still says, fuck you.
Yeah, he's still, then he drops that line regardless.
Have your little soiree. Bye.
So they go inside, and they continue this conversation like the last one didn't just happen, and,
Yeah, this is so bizarre.
Right?
they just start talking about the genders and how they fucking figured it out all of a sudden.
Yeah, all the dragons are female, and they essentially act like fish, I think she says at one point, Natalia, because like they're like, yeah, all the dragons are female because we haven't seen a male yet. So their theory is the fact that like there's one male that kind of
Yeah, the one male that I guess the idea here is that Bale has PTSD from that still, so he just isn't spilling the beans on it, that it was the one he saw when he was a kid.
I don't think he knows that.
He just has like an inkling, I suppose, if nothing else.
No, because he even says like, oh, I never checked the plumbing or whatever he says.
Yeah.
So there's one male that like fertilizes all the females. So the females automatically carry eggs, and then they get fertilized by the male. But like, there's no other males? Question mark.
That's my thing. Is like, I'm not a biologist, but like I do work with animals, and I don't know. There seems something like an evolutionary deficiency to have a single male. Not just for a pocket of females, not for a pack of females, but for the entire known population of this species, there's a single male?
Yeah.
Paarthurnax.
The Paarthurnax dilemma.
I know I said it was Bane, but like if you really think about it, you were talking about Skyrim a little bit earlier, it's probably Paarthurnax.
Paarthurnax!
Did somebody go out and lift up all the dragon skirts, or what?
I mean, Bale kind of literally does, like 2 scenes later. He goes out there with a fucking knife and like cuts into that dead dragon and just pulls a fucking egg out. I'm not sure what that was supposed to imply.
Yeah, I was waiting for that scene to happen, and when it did, it didn't go anywhere.
Where does that egg even go?
I don't know. I think it just affirms to him that like,
What, does he cook it?
oh yeah, fucking dragon scramble.
He sends it back in time with the Terminator, and he drops it off at a church. And
The rest is history. 2 plumbers find it.
Let me tell you something. That dead-ass dragon and that egg, that place can now suddenly make up for all those lost vegetables.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
We got some dragon meat. Are they edible or what? I mean, did we try to eat these things?
We don't know. The only thing they say about them is that they don't like the smell of their own dead, so they stay away from it.
yeah, what are they, zombies?
I don't know. They should rub themselves in it.
I'd be into that. Just Bale walking around with this fucking dead dragon's head on his shoulders.
That would be something, right? Like a fucking dragon skull.
Yeah.
Thing. thing. That'd be cool.
Like he's a fucking minotaur?
That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see fucking like dragon's tooth fucking clothing and spears and all kinds of shit. But we don't get that. Or like dragon hide armor. Like Monster Hunter or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
McConaughey's like, yeah, we tracked the fucking epidemiology all the way back to fucking London, and it turns out that these fucking things originated in England, so we gotta go kill the male, the bull, the big daddy dog.
Christian Bale's like, I have a thing I have to get to, and I totally didn't see this when I was a child. Bye.
Right, well, that's why I think he has an inkling. He doesn't know, but he has an inkling, because when he mentions how they tracked it back to London, Bale's probably thinking back, oh, fuck.
Well, yeah.
The one I let out.
I kicked the nest. Oh, boy.
The one that spooged in my face?
Let's be real. One of those fucking fat guys drinking beer would have found it, if not him, so.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah, no, the guy who came back and was like, I found a crevice.
Hey, toss me another Budweiser, would you? I found a fucking holes here.
It's fucking that guy's fault for knocking on Koopa's door, all right?
He's got the meteorite piece, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, the Kupahari Desert is at the other end of that tunnel.
I found this rock.
Great. Where's the rock?
Where's the rock? Yeah, this hopper walks up behind that. I see you been digging. Where's the rock? What rock? I'm not here. You never saw me. He just walks away.
The meteorite piece.
The meteorite piece. Are you stupid? Do I need to evolve you? The guy's like, I have no idea what you're saying to me.
Monkey. And then he just leaves and goes away.
So the next morning, there's this basically, Van Zandt's rallying up fucking Quinn's people, and he's like, listen, we're going to London, and I need some volunteers, and Eddie and like 3 other people raise their hand, and Van Zandt's like, guys, that's it? What are you fucking kidding me? No, all the strong people are just coming with me by force.
Yeah, he's like, the volunteering is over, now it's the draft.
Yeah, straight up. And I'm like, okay, they're just gonna pick him by looking at him. Perfect.
And then Quinn runs out and is awful at fighting. Let's put it that way.
It's not that he's awful. It's just McConaughey is portrayed as like that alpha male American with the fucking jacked muscles and the military complex.
Like he's fucking Colonel Guile, man.
Yeah, that, and because Quinn is just a guy, like, who has survival ability, but, like, he doesn't have any combat training as far as I know, and runs up to some guy who he probably knows has combat training and tries to fist fight him and gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Well, he's trying to prove a point at the end of the day.
Question. Who would win in a bare-knuckle fist fight on the street, Christian Bale or Matthew McConaughey?
I think Christian Bale would fucking destroy that guy.
I think
Christian
so.
Bale's got no fucks left to give about his body.
I also think Christian Bale actually has formal training.
I mean, he's Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, even for the movies, you know? I think Bale would win, too. I was having a conversation with Julie before.
I think because of how Christian Bale is with, like, this is going to sound odd, but, like, anybody who's willing to do what he does to his body for method acting, where he, like, walks a fine line between method acting and trying to kill himself, is probably terrifying to fight.
You bring up a good point, though. Like, let's say this is Christian Bale during The Machinist. He's getting his ass kicked.
He's getting his ass kicked in a couple seconds.
Bale from The Machinist versus McConaughey from Dallas Buyers Club. Now that is a fucking fight I'd pay to see.
Oh my god. that's almost offensive.
That would be like Cripple Fight on South Park.
Oh Jesus! Now I feel bad that I even suggested it.
You're talking about one character who is emaciated from not sleeping or eating for a year, and one character has HIV. Does he not?
Yeah.
Well, I mean the actors. I'm not talking about their characters. I mean them being in their roles.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's just that when you add context to that, you're like, oh Jesus.
they're just, well, yeah.
Realistically, they'd probably just look at each other and say "fuck this" and go grab a beer and fucking just call it.
They both throw one punch, get really tired, and go, "You want a sandwich?"
Yeah, they both just lay down.
Just share a ham, egg, and cheese.
Good night.
We don't need to fight. That was really stupid.
That would be stupid.
Bale gets his ass kicked, and Jansen comes over right before they all leave and is like, "Yeah, here's some meds."
This is the most awkward flirtiness I've ever seen. She's like, your arm's cut. Here's some iodine. It hurts. Let me rub your lip.
Not even. She says, here's some iodine. It burns like hell, but it cleans anything. And I'm like, no shit, bitch. We know what iodine is.
I think, it's not a magic ampule full of fucking, like, serum, you moron. It's,
right. Here's my alchemical mixture that will cure anything.
Here's my health potion.
Here's a blue potion. I've mixed it with the red and green and blue herbs. First aid spray.
Yeah.
She's like, here's iodine. And then, like, Christian Bale's mouth is hanging open. And he's got blood hanging from his lip.
Well.
And she takes her thumb and just starts rubbing his lip. And he just stares back at her.
Because he's like, what are you doing?
For some reason, throughout this film, every scene they're together, they're doing this real, like, subtle flirting that doesn't really ever go anywhere.
No.
I kind of hate it.
Don't need it.
I hate it because it doesn't go anywhere and it's awkward as fuck every single time.
I mean, let me tell you something. If there's only a handful of fucking people left at the end of the day, of course these two are fucking. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it just seems like a super, like, forced in part of the film that I didn't need because they're just...
Oh, yeah, totally. It's a dead-end plot thread. It doesn't go anywhere.
Right, it's like trying to connect the dots just because they're there.
just doesn't need it. It needed more dragons. It didn't need this.
Yes, that's my biggest problem with this movie, is that there's not enough dragons.
I would have even taken more of Jared.
Fuck Jared. I hate this kid.
This guy Jared, because there's this whole, like, subplot where Christian Bale is like...
You mean this kid with who's bipolar?
Sure, but Christian Bale has this subplot where he has all these kids, you know, ranging from 1 to 18, essentially, are his quote unquote adopted kids because he watches over them.
Yeah.
And this guy Jared, who kind of pops up here and there throughout the film, he's kind of like, for lack of a better term, like the third hand guy behind Creedy.
He's a kid. He's like 16.
Yeah, he comes up to Christian Bale and he's like, "Listen, I'm gonna go with Van Zandt."
Because you're a pussy.
And Bale. Basically. And
Yeah, I watched you get your ass kicked today. I'm leaving.
Bale gives him like this impassioned speech, basically like, "Yeah, you're gonna throw your fucking life away. All right, see ya. You're old enough."
I could be an archangel. 17 seconds. They died in 17 seconds.
I talked to a veteran that was there for 8 years, so he's going to teach me how to jump out of a plane.
My butler told me a story once about a man in a forest, a thief.
Oh my god.
I saw a dragon's egg the size of a peach.
I saw a child the size of a ruby. who was throwing away a tangerine.
I saw a ruby the size of a dragon egg.
So they do this like weird bait and switch with this Jared character that lasts all of like 4 minutes, where he's gonna go with Van Zandt.
It's stupid.
And then Bale goes down to the fucking crops that got burned early in the film, is like collecting ash or some bullshit. And Jared's like there.
Yeah, welcome back, Jared.
He's like, "Oh, I guess you didn't leave," and they shake hands. And that's the end of that scene.
Yep, sure is.
Yeah, it's an entire plot thread that gets set up and then disposed of in 2 scenes that happen back to back with each other. Like,
it gets set up and wrapped up in 2 scenes.
Well, because the way that the I don't want to get too into it because we're about to talk about this next scene, but it kind of does this thing where he says he's going to leave. It cuts to the next scene with McConaughey and his troops, and then shit happens there, and then it cuts back, and you're like, "Oh, I guess they're all fucking dead." And then it's like, "Oh no, Jared, he didn't actually go."
Right.
Scene.
And then, like, right after the Jared thing, Quinn fucking goes over to the dead dragon at night and pulls out the fucking Kintner boy out of its stomach.
Michael Caine was there with his fucking helicopter.
It sure was.
I saw a boy the size of a tangerine.
Yeah, Michael, we heard you. The tangerine.
Yeah. They just pushed him out of the helicopter. I saw a boy.
I saw a boy. No, but he pulls out a dragon egg, and I guess this just, like, affirms the fact that it's female and not a male.
I don't know. It's Daisy. I don't fucking care.
It goes nowhere.
It's like a big revelatory scene, too. He's like, oh, he's staring at it, and his musical swells.
I guess.
And then they just drop it.
Well, because the next scene, or somewhere in the mix of this all going on, is this scene with, Van Zandt and his fucking platoon going to London, and it's... it is literally just like totally fucking destroyed.
Yeah.
The highway.
It looks like a somehow less blue version of the shit in the beginning of Terminator 2. There's not a goddamn thing living in this.
The whole armada gets fucking nuked.
Yeah.
Because the mail comes...
In a matter of minutes.
Minutes, seconds.
In like a second, he even says, he's like, one pass. It just made one pass, and then it killed us all. We're fucked, man. We're fucked.
His team gets wiped out.
All of them are dead.
All of them get wiped out.
Literally. All of Quinn's people and the remaining Van Zandt people are dead.
So, yeah, he only survives because as this giant, like, the male, come to find out, is like 3 times the size as the females.
It's fucking huge.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
As it's approaching, he just starts, he jumps backward and just starts firing a pistol and a shotgun, lands under one of the tanks, and then everyone gets fried, and that somehow saves him?
Because he rolls under, yeah.
So it's, literally him and Jansen, who took the helicopter around to, check out the area before she came back. And then meanwhile, I guess they just... I guess the dragon just follows their fucking trail back to the castle.
Well, Bale says something previously. He's like, "You're gonna fucking lead him right to us," and I'm like, I guess, but they're not even to London yet. So how is this thing?
I guess it just follows their tracks because again, they're not stupid.
Yeah, but why is it there in the first place?
It's a big motherfucker. It probably hunts miles out. Like, I'll give him that.
I guess. Yeah, maybe.
It's only 66 miles out.
I guess. It's just conveniently there, but
I don't know. I'm trying to throw him a bone here and there.
all right. But it is cool. It's totally fucking cool to see this thing light up this armada.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting for the whole fucking movie. But instead, I get a half hour of people fighting each other.
And then it flies to the fucking castle and does its thing.
And starts wrecking the place. Like, at first it kills, like, we didn't really just talk about him because he's barely a character, but, like, Bale has this kind of radio jockey who's there to, like, listen and kind of, listen or respond to radio messages.
Hermes in fucking Clash of the Titans, man. Give him a little due respect.
Yes, he is.
That's who that
is?
is?
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck, man.
Alexander Siddig.
But he's the first one to go. This thing runs up, it flies right up to his window and just burns him. It burns his whole fucking room.
It burns the whole fucking place down.
Yeah, it burns the whole fucking, and like, to the point where even hiding underground is kind of useless because it's destroying the foundations, places are collapsing. There's fire coming into the doors and like just people in rooms who are just burned alive. And they all get pressed underground. Isn't there more survivors that Bale wants to go rescue, but Creedy kind of takes his place?
Yeah, he's like, there's 65 people up there, blood. He's like, no, fuck them. And then they, like, take the kids and they run down to the shelter and they turn the water on that we see them fucking installing in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then they're all down there and then Christian Bale's like, I gotta go save him. And then Gerard Butler's like, no, I'll go save him. You stay here with the kids. Give me the fire extinguisher. Here I go. And he opens the fucking door, and this male dragon lands on the top of this fucking castle and shoots a goddamn mouth beam directly down the fucking hole and burns him to death. And it fucking slams the door shut and locks everybody in the fucking basement. So we get Barbecue Butler, and then Van Zandt comes down to save them.
Sounds delicious. I'll take a leg.
Well, we had Barbecue Butler fall out of a helicopter, and then we had Barbecue Butler. And, think about it. Re-listen to the previous part of the episode. It'll make sense. So, they later on, they're all like...
I just got that.
Thank you. So later on, they're kind of just sitting there trying to relax, and they start hearing noise banging on the door, and it's the Kentucky Irregulars.
What a stupid fucking name.
McConaughey comes back, and he's all fucking beaten and bruised, and he's like, you were right.
Yeah, no shit, you fuckface.
You were right about the male dragon. He came back into... sorry. Oops.
My bad.
Bale's looking around, he's like, we got like 30 kids, this guy Jared, me, you, the woman. What are we gonna do?
My Highlander is dead.
I told you the fucking dragon came out of that fucking hole, didn't I?
Meanwhile, Jansen's standing there like, yeah, I do have a fucking name, by the way.
So Christian Bale's like, all right, Jared, hold down the fort because we're going to fucking London.
Yeah.
And then Van Zandt, fucking Natalia, and Bale load up the truck and they fucking head to London.
Question. They take the helicopter there. And I'm going to jump ahead just to make a point.
Okay.
At the end of this movie, Christian Bale rides the fucking horse back. Where was the horse? On the helicopter?
He played his fucking ocarina, man. I don't know.
Oh.
What do you mean? He held down on the D-pad and he summoned it like you do in Assassin's Creed. It just showed up.
He played Epona's song, and there it was.
Whistled and Roach shows up. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we figured out that fucking...
The horse had fast travel.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, they're in London, and basically... You see Big Ben, and all of London is just, of course, like everything else, totally destroyed.
Full disclosure, my favorite stretch of the film, and it was the last 10 minutes of the movie, it actually angered me a whole lot.
It's like more of this, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of burning the entire army, why don't we have an entire army fight some dragons?
I just have to say, again, and we'll get into it at the close of this episode, but I don't hate this film.
No, I don't hate it either.
However, this scene in particular, there is no fucking way that this dragon on the Big Ben, or let's just spoil it now, the other 50 to 100 that are there could not see them from that vantage point.
Right?
They're on a bridge that is at, like, eye level, like crouched down. You can't fucking see 3 people, like, muttering to themselves over there.
They're airborne creatures, and you already established they can see well in the day, they can see better at night.
Right.
If their vision works like an eagle or a hawk, like, they are fine-tuned to see movement from small objects.
Right. And it's been proven in the fucking 3 scenes before this with dragons where they can see they can see you no problem.
Yeah.
Right. Even if this is the magic hour, as they call it, twilight.
Oh, I guess it is, right? Yeah, maybe it is, though, isn't it?
But the real pisser for this scene to me is, like, not only do they not see them, but then they, like, you know, McConaughey and all them are just basically like, yeah, why aren't they doing anything? And the male fucking comes up from, like, below and just, like, eats one of the females because I guess it's starving.
That's the thing. They say that. They're like, they resorted to eating each other because they're starving. And I'm like, how do they keep fucking making more dragons if they can't sustain a food source?
If their cycle of life is they eat everything and go back to sleep, like, why haven't they started to go back to sleep?
Right.
Right, but I wonder if there's 2 factors to that. One, Paarthurnax just keeps, you know, doing what he does.
Fucking?
And 2, you know, now that there's so many of them, where are they going to really hibernate to?
They can go anywhere because the planet's theirs. They can just crawl up into like a mountain or a cave. Like they can sleep on the surface.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they have a ton of places to go. They have the entire Earth to go.
And if the way they sleep works the way I think they do, they would sleep so long and so hard that like civilizations would rise up, like the Earth would change around them, and like by the time they woke back up again, like there'd be a brand new civilization on Earth, or at least a brand new dominant species.
Or until some idiot drills into the fucking hole with a Budweiser.
Right. Benny.
And let's face it, every generation of anthropomorphic beings is going to have a Benny that wakes those fucking dragons up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Every dominant species will have an idiot with an auger.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me?
Every dominant species is going to have an idiot with a Budweiser and a cigarette in his mouth. Like, hey, mate, what the fuck's in this hole? Oh, here it is.
A giant motorized drill.
And every generation's going to have an Arnold Schwarzenegger to say, screw you, Benny.
So they set up to fight this fucking male.
They go underground first?
Right, because Bale's saying how, you know, he does, you know, if they're above ground, they're fucked because they're airborne creatures, but he knows the tunnel's pretty good from when he was a kid. And this is the first time we get a little bit of dragon vision.
We do, and it's very akin to Werewolf in Paris vision.
Oh, God.
If you strip off that yellow and put a white filter, there you go. Just make it black and white, baby, and it's the same shit.
I kind of liked it in this, though.
Well, it made sense in this.
So an awkward fisheye lens with a color over it?
Yes.
I don't remember what I said about that in that movie. I probably liked it, realistically, but I like this more.
You thought it was heat vision.
Hey, I still stand by that.
I think it's still bullshit, but this definitely looks better.
So, yeah, they make it into the fucking sewer system. And, you know, McConaughey starts breaking out these magnesium fucking C4 arrow tips.
Magnesium-tipped C4 arrows that only fly 50 feet, so they have to be super close to kill these fucking dragons.
Right.
You have to be inside. You have to be right inside the furnace to kill this motherfucker.
Which I kind of buy because, I don't know, you don't want to chance it. And 2, like, if these things are blowing fire at you and you're more than 50 feet away from it, it's just going to get blown into the air anyway.
Well, you're going to explode because you have a C4 tipped fucking arrow.
Well, true.
You have magnesium and C4 on your person. You're going up in flames and then exploding.
So McConaughey's like, yeah, we're going to fucking, here, this is the plan. We're going to run around the side, and we're going to fucking go, we're going to go fucking, you know, the dragon's flying around. We got a couple of windows. We're going to run around him, and we're going to shoot him right in his fucking face with this arrow and hope he dies. And he's got like a flask. And he's like pep talking them, right? And he's like, he's drinking out of it. He's like, it's gonna be 200 paces to get wherever we're going, and then we got our crossbows and everything's gonna be fine. And Natalia takes a swig out of the this flask and hands it to Bale, and he takes a sip out of it, and he spits it out. And he goes, it's water, and he's like, yeah, you can fucking keep it. See ya. It's a fucking. I thought that was hilarious. I laughed out loud at that part because he's like dead serious. Like he's like,
yeah, what is this? What is this, piss?
Yeah, he's like he's like deep in like thought with this plan. He's like, yeah, keep it. It's fine.
They're basically formulating this plan, and then McConaughey's like, I'm watching the dragon. Every 10 to 12 seconds, it's got to circle back around before it can attack again, and that's our window. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, 10 to 12 seconds, that is not a lot of time to do anything.
No, especially run across a city.
Literally. Because he tells Bale, he's like, hey, you go there, I'm going to go up this fucking, like, watchtower on the other opposite end.
If you're, look, there's 3 of you, and it takes 10 to 12 seconds for this thing to come back around, you're going to have to take turns moving.
Yeah. And also, it's like, especially if you're climbing this fucking tower.
Oh, your lunch.
I don't know, man.
I will say that they are trying to wrap the movie up at this point, and I'm kind of glad they didn't do that.
Well, they're desperately trying to wrap this movie up.
Because Bale, the dragon comes by, it fires, and, the Jansen basically is just going to hang out till McConaughey yells for her to run.
Right.
And the dragon comes in, fire breath, they both run to their positions, but Bale fucking trips and drops one of the fucking, the arrow tip, and because the dragon swoops down and almost eats him.
Yeah.
And then he runs to his position and then goes to grab it out of his pocket, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, because there's 3 arrows, they each have one, and they each have a crossbow.
Right.
Matthew McConaughey's up on this water tower, and he's like, all right, it's, another 8 seconds is going to come around, we're going to fight, we're going to kill this motherfucker. And he's like, you got to run in 8 seconds. And the fucking thing comes around, and he's like, go, to Natalia. And Christian Bale's like, no, don't go, there's a fucking dragon coming. Matthew McConaughey uses Natalia to lure the fucking dragon towards him. And he's like, yeah, come on, Big Daddy. I'm going to shoot you in the fucking face with this fucking arrow.
I'm already shaking my head.
And this fucking dragon flies up, and something gets fucked up. This guy's a deadeye with a giant harpoon, but can't use a fucking crossbow, apparently, because he shoots this thing, and it's just about to blow fire, and, like, this arrow explodes in the dragon's face. But it doesn't do anything.
Well, what I think happens is the dragon doesn't fire the flame right away. It shoots like the gas or whatever it uses to start.
Basically, yeah, it ignited the arrow. I think it's with its breath.
But that explosion would have fucking beat the shit out of that dragon, I feel like.
Well, you would think it would at least knock it to the ground.
Yeah, or something.
If its mouth was open, it would have shot an explosion back into its face. He would have swallowed like
Right into his fucking
whatever
mouth.
was coming at. Yeah, he would have swallowed a C4 and magnesium explosion.
Right, but it would like if you light the end of like a stream out of a lighter fluid bottle or something, and it backlights into the fucking thing and explodes.
That, and it definitely would have knocked him off balance as far as flying goes.
Sure,
because it went off in his face.
Yeah,
so like that thing's gonna fall a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, it definitely gives Jansen the opportunity to run towards Bale while this is going on.
I guess it like circles a little bit and then comes after Van Zandt again, and he's just like, all right, motherfuck, this is it, here it comes, it's just mono
they call me Superman.
mono eat axe, motherfucker. And he fucking jumps off this tower.
He does not jump off this tower. You are doing a service of ridiculousness to the scene. He gets airborne off this tower because there's a nice shot from the ground up looking at him leaving this tower. He doesn't jump. He propels. He is going straight like Superman. His legs are extended, and he's got this axe over his head, and he's going forward.
He's got a pair of stompers on, dude.
Yeah, he put the bombs in there.
Come on, big boy!
But he goes like 20 feet out from this fucking tower.
I mean, he straight up fucking tequiles himself. He's like Tequil from fucking Frisky Dingo, 2nd season.
Yep.
With the bomb, jumps into Cody too. What the fuck was he thinking? What was his plan?
He jumps out, holds his axe over his head, and gets swallowed immediately and dies.
Yeah. It's that Captain Crump, man. Gives him muscles.
I don't know what the it's like, what was his plan? Takes the words from my mouth. What the fuck was he thinking?
Was that like his distraction for Bale and Jansen, and they just didn't take it?
Congratulations, you turned yourself into a piece of popcorn shrimp. Nice distraction.
It was the most American thing he could have done.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even get a chance to swing this fucking axe, though. Like, when the dragon bites him, it, like, slides across the dragon's face, like, out of frame. And I'm like, how did he not, like, bring it down at least? Or, like, jam it forward into his fucking mouth like the rain cord or some shit.
This guy was, yeah, exactly. This guy was kind of, clearly a piece of shit. But, he was trying to kill dragons. I'll give him that. Like, he could have at least, like, brought the axe down on its head and just been chomped and it did nothing.
Sure.
Dies like a doofus.
Yeah.
Like,
and it looks like dog shit.
Plucked out of the air, and it looks terrible.
There's a lot of good CG in this and a lot of good green screen, and that is not one of those shots because it just looks bad.
It almost makes it seem like it was done the last second. Like, they were just like, yeah, kill that character off.
And it's like he's like even semi out of focus. Like when he jumps, he's like blurry.
It looks like it swallows an action figure. Like it's just these two arms and legs sticking out of its mouth, and it goes and just swallows them.
Like, you know what you could have did? bit the motherfucker in half or something.
Oh, yeah.
What was this movie rated?
I think PG-13.
There's barely a drop of blood in this movie. And it's all from Christian Bale's sand scuffs.
Yeah, it's the fight that they have that you see the blood.
Speaking of Christian Bale, he somehow, during all this chaos, gets the fucking arrow back. Just kind of runs out and grabs it. And then as he's, like, pulling it back on his crossbow, the dragon comes down and is about to fucking fry him, and Jansen runs out with the machine gun and starts, trying to distract it while he's, hitching this arrow on this crossbow. And, long story short, it opens its mouth, he pulls the trigger, and it goes boom.
This fucking thing flies down this thing's throat. It ignites its fire, like the two liquid things in its mouth, and it fucking explodes like its insides out, and then just collapses.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
It's fucking cool.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah.
And you buy it immediately, because as this thing explodes, Bale's like blown back like 20 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it looks really good.
And then, the male's dead. So, theoretically, the rest of the dragons that are alive now should just die. But there's still hundreds of dragons. Thousands.
Yeah, the problem isn't solved. You pushed it back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you stopped the hive, at its core, right? Like, you killed the queen, quote unquote.
You broke the dragon's back.
Yeah, and since they don't establish how a male is created in their species, like, can they spontaneously change sex? Does every female only lay one male egg? Like,
some West Indian frogs are known to change sex from male to female in a single-sex environment. Or female to male.
Life finds a way.
You bred dragons?
Christian Bale has a dream, wakes up, and his friend is a dragon, and goes, Quinn, Alan.
Listen, I can look over the plot hole of how they got gasoline. Hey, this helicopter's going too high. You're telling me that there was like a solid 100, maybe 200 dragons just hanging out in London, and this male dies and they just don't come down and like just eat Bale?
The only member of their species that can provide babies to them just blew up like around the block.
They just disappear.
They just leave.
They just disappear. Would they go into hiding? Did they fly into space? Did they just commit suicide?
They're going to Mars.
Yeah, they turned into Ghidorah. The only way they would explain that to me would be like, well, that was like the male's domain, and they all kind of flew away because if you notice, like when he goes to eat the one, they're all like, oh shit, and they fucking all leave. So I don't know.
Right. As long as it's not a Mario Brothers where, when the fucking king comes back just because a Koopa dies, and they just disappear because the male's dead.
It's like it's an even dumber version of like you blow up the mothership and then everything else dies. This time you blew the mothership and everything else just left.
Yeah, well, right. And again, like we just said, like they'll die eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Until they make Reign of Fire 2 and they return.
Yes, until. But like your keep is still destroyed. Half your survivors were killed, and the best fighting force you came across to fight these things are all dead except for one person.
So let's build a radio tower like Dustin and Stranger Things.
Yeah, we're gonna color correct the end of this, the rest of this movie real nice, like it looks right and looks beautiful, not like a fucking
washed out Judgment Day dream.
Yeah, fucking cooled it off. Fucking negative whatever. It fucking looks like a goddamn blue hue.
What kind of colors you want for this movie? Cold ones.
Blue. And then Jared comes up and he's like, oh, Quinn, he's like, we got a radio signal. He's like, they're speaking French. What shall I do? And Quinn's like, oh, I don't know French. You're in charge now, Jared. Go on, maybe they'll give us some wine. Off you go, Tyke. And then like him and Natalia like fucking hold hands or some shit and walk off into the sunset to fuck or whatever.
She goes, here's to evolution. Fade out.
Boo.
Cut to the fucking butt rock.
What? I can't remember. I recognized it immediately, but I don't remember what the fuck it was. But I was like, wow, that's certainly some 2000s metal.
Oh, I don't know, man, but that is some 2000s. No, thank you.
Yeah,
for sure. And that's it.
Yeah, that was it. It just kind of ends. It kind of flips you off and it's just like, bye.
Hey, you want more dragons? Fuck you. So what are we doing? Are we buying a ticket to this? Are we waiting for VOD or are we torrenting this mother?
I would not buy a ticket to this movie. I would download it. I would put it in a flash drive and I'd have it flash drive in a well. I hated this movie.
Did you really?
I hated this movie.
You hated this movie, but you unabashedly love Clash of the Titans. Can you just like break that down a little bit?
You want to know why I love Clash of the Titans? Because Clash of the Titans is at least, like, it doesn't meander the way this fucking movie does. Like, Clash of Titans is getting its business done.
Okay.
It's brief. There's, like, it's almost like it's... I like Clash of Titans because it's trying to amuse a baby. Where it's just constant moving bullshit.
Okay.
And it's really stupid and it's comical. This movie bored the fuck out of me for about half its running time. Because I went for dragons, I didn't get any for the most part, and I got people I didn't fucking like just arguing. I hated it.
All right.
And it's probably due to the fact that, like, I had to watch it over the course of several days. So every time I came back in, I was like, will you fuckers just get on with it?
I could see that.
I went in, like I said, in the first 10 minutes, I was like, this movie is my fucking jam. And then they took all that shit away, and I had to watch people be stupid, or be frustrating, or be dumb, or weak-looking, and I really couldn't stand any of it. And then, like... right when I was like, oh, fuck yeah, sky full of dragons, they're gonna fight the buck, I look at the time clock, 10 minutes left in the film, and I was like, get fucked. Like, I was like, you sons of bitches, you held this back from me for an hour, and you're gonna give it all to me in one 10-minute spoonful of fuck you? Gah, fuck you too. Get fucked. I hated this film.
Buying a ticket, straight up. I bought the ticket when this came out. It's fucking dragons and Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey. So that's plenty to get my ass in a fucking seat. Now, I like this film. I don't love this film by any stretch. Okay. It definitely has its slow parts. I think the pacing for me is fine. I can totally see where you're coming from, where nothing happens. People say the same thing that I'm about to say, like, or they have the same problem about why I think people have a problem with this film. Like, I remember somebody, when the first Punisher season came out, somebody was like, this is so fucking stupid and slow. Would he just fucking kill people?
And I said back to that, you can't have 12 episodes of Frank Castle shooting people.
Right. You can't do that. It's called exposition.
Yeah.
And forever, however boring that may be to some people, I appreciate it. I appreciate the fact that if you look at Quinn's backstory, like, he has a whole lineage of why or not lineage, he has a whole reason for what he's doing and why he's doing it, you know what I mean? And kind of like his reservations about things and why he's not gung-ho with getting on the train with Van Zandt and shit. So, I mean, there's a lot of droopy places in this where I totally can feel your sentiment on that, where it's boring, right? And of course, we all signed up for fucking dragons, but it's also not that kind of movie, which is strange, right? So it's a blockbuster, but it doesn't do kind of what it's supposed to do.
It wanted to be the road at times, and I was like, that's not what I came here for.
Right.
And I also want people to think that my threshold for films ends at amusing a baby, because there are some dreadfully slow movies that I love. The original Pulse, one of my favorite movies, moves like molasses, but it's all atmosphere, it's all mood, and it's all tone.
Totally.
And this movie is like, it's atmosphere. I'm like, it ain't atmosphere.
If your atmosphere is blue nothing, then yes, it nails it. I don't know, it's fine. It's not, I wouldn't pick it up a lot. I don't think I've watched this in the past 10 years. I remember when it came out, and I didn't watch it for a long-ass time, and then I was like, I'm going to watch fucking Reign of Fire. And I'm like, oh, that was fine. I'm not going to watch this again for another 10 years, and here we are. I think the CG is really good, especially for its time when a lot of movies then just look like fucking total dog shit. Not a fan of the fucking color palette. I wish they graded it like they did the end of the fucking movie. That would have been nice. I think all the dragon stuff looks awesome, and I wish, if anything, I just wish it had more of that. But I can totally see why this failed at the box office. So yeah, I'd buy a fucking ticket straight up.
You know what? If I knew any better in 2002, I would have bought a ticket for this movie, and I would buy a ticket for this movie now. And I'm kind of disagree with you, Connor, on the atmosphere, because I feel like this movie has really good atmosphere, and I think the reason why I do like this film, even though I will agree it is boring in a lot of spots, like, there's no bones about it. There are parts of this film that I just wish did not exist. They are the parts of the film that I'm like, if this was a normal episode, this is getting pushed further and further down in the dumpster. But there is also a lot about this movie that I'm like, okay, it's going down in the dumpster, but it's kind of coming back up, and it's coming back up. And you know what, like, I like listen to the show. I don't know if people at home have picked up on this or you guys have picked up on this, but the way I look at movies in general, there's many factors that have to sell a movie for me. And, acting's part of that. The effects are part of that. Even the color grading in this particular case stands out because it is so weird. But that's like part of it too, to an extent. The sound, the music. But to me, the number one thing for me is, maybe it's number 1 and 2 technically, but is story and characters. If you can nail those, I can look past a lot of bullshit. And I think this movie, at least with its main few characters, with Quinn, with Van Zandt, and even let's say the dragons, they're a character in and of themselves. I think it nails those 3 aspects of the film. And I like the universe that they built. This hey, we released fucking dragons and we didn't know what to do, so they destroyed the world before we had a chance to figure it out. And now we're trying to pick up the pieces. I find that super interesting. I'm also kind of a sucker for like post-apocalypse scenarios, so maybe that's, something that just immediately appeals to me.
Sure.
But yeah, I didn't love this film, like Joe said. I don't know if it's something I'll watch again for a while. Long story short, buy a ticket.
What's funny is that I agree with a lot of the positive both of you said, but this movie lost me because it just did not offer enough of what I was looking for out of it, and I was like,
No, totally.
Frustrated the shit out of me.
Honestly, I went into this not necessarily looking for dragons, and I mean, I could chalk that up to being like, I've heard enough about this film over the years to know that the dragons are kind of a minor part, and maybe if I saw it in theaters on day 1, I would be like, what the fuck did I just pay money for?
Yeah.
14-year-old me would have loved this movie, but 32-year-old me who didn't know shit about this movie, who had never seen it before, really wanted a dragon movie, like a War with Dragons movie, and I got a Scuffle with Dragons. So
Was this your first time watching it?
yes,
Really?
Yes.
so it probably explains a lot.
Wait. For both of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I had that GameCube game, and it just sat on a shelf. I don't know, maybe I just didn't have a memory card at the time, or it was too hard for my dumbass kid self. But that was my reach on this title in the past.
Holy shit.
This is my first experience with this movie, so yeah, that might inform a little bit of how I feel about it, because like, I went in looking for something very specific and I didn't get it, so it infuriated me.
Gotcha. No, I mean, I totally get that. I now it makes even more sense to me.
I have no
Because I'm like, I knew exactly what to expect.
I have no built-in nostalgia for this movie, so I came at it very surface level.
I almost had the opposite reaction than Connor did.
You and me had very complementary or like opposing views on this. As
well, right, I didn't watch it over the course of 7 days.
Well, no, it was, you said, where I said with Clash of Titans, like, if you get me aesthetically and you get things that make me excited, I'm kind of in, even if your characters are fucking stupid. And in this one, it was characters and story that you really enjoyed, but everything else kind of said fell by the wayside. And like, I wish I liked these characters. I just really didn't. However, I do love this world. I think it's fascinating, but I just didn't get enough of it. I felt like I was watching the more boring version of this story, and there was a more exciting thing happening, like the other side of London.
I totally agree with you on that. And like, the fact of the matter is, like, this story just could have been better, straight up. Like, the whole thing with like Bale as a kid and letting the dragon out, that's fine, that's whatever, but like, I want to see the destruction.
Yeah, I want to see a fight. I want to see a battle.
I want to see how we get there, and if you're going to do a post-apocalyptic, I need you to go all the way for me.
But I like the idea of like, hey, we're not going to show it to you because it was just a total obliteration, and this is just like what's left, and we're still not out of the shit yet.
Sure.
It's why you didn't show Thanos wrecking Xandar, because it's just a one-sided ass-kicking you didn't need to see.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, I guess I'm trying to inject more dragon hijinks, or not hijinks, but dragon action.
I am not opposed to that at all.
Well, I'm trying to think of how to plug more dragon action in.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I wouldn't be into Doctor Strangelove versus dragons, because we all know that's what would have happened.
Now I really want that movie.
But even in this sense, like, I need more Van Zandt and his team fucking shit up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I think it's fine. So this movie was made for $60 million. Its opening weekend was 15, and its gross was 43. So I think that
actually hurts. I feel bad for it to an extent.
it's a bomb for sure. Hey, if you want to fuck a dragon, fuck a dragon. So that's it. That's Reign of Fire from 2002, directed by Rob Bowman.
Hey, everybody, if you want some more bad movie goodness, you can check us out at MovieDumpsterPodcast.com.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Android, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, or Podbean, and make sure to leave us a 5-star review if you dig the show, because it helps us get out of the bottom of the dumpster into more eardrums.
Yeah, and if you're on the social medias, you can follow us at Movie Dumpster on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm Connor McGraw.
Thanks for visiting the dumpster.
Only one thing worse than a dragon. Americans.